Here's what's on tap for this episode of Inside Connect and Simplify. Don't look back. From the home base in Brookfield, Wisconsin, here's the latest episode of Inside Connect and Simplify. I'm Roger Firstenow, account executive, subject matter expert in personal and business insurance, marketing teammate, and networking guru. I joined the benefit companies in 2016. Released in 1978, Don't Look Back was the second studio album by American rock band Boston. The album reached number 1, and Don't Look Back was also the title song in the album, reaching number 4 in the U.S. The theme of the song speaks to letting go of the past, embracing the new because today is a great day to make a change. Some of the lyrics that stick out are, "Don't look back. Today is the day. As I can't lose now. Don't look back." So, how does this translate to human capital management platforms and Connect and Simplify, our human capital management system? Here's how. Don't look back means to continue to grow, improve, and stay relevant. You cannot get complacent and stay in one place. If you have been listening to our podcast or know anything about the benefit companies, you are probably aware that we are a human capital management provider based in Wisconsin. When I joined the company in 2016, I was brought in to be a subject matter expert in property and casualty insurance for both personal and business clients. I had not heard of human capital management platforms, would not have been able to give you a definition of HCM. If you look at my business card today, it reads, HCM Account Executive. In just a few years, HCM has come to life. Today we're going off of our typical script. We're going to tell you a story. Kathy Tunney, Vice President of the Benefit Companies, is here to talk about where HCM got started here at the Benefit Companies, all stemming from a prospect meeting. You're going to love the story. When we are done today, you will have an understanding of HCM and how our trademarked HCM platform, Connect and Simplify, is one of the most comprehensive, technically nimble systems on the market. And now, here's Kathy. Kathy, thanks for coming in today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Great. So first off, please give a little bit of a background on you before you came to the benefit companies, and then what are you currently overseeing here at the company?
Absolutely. So I have been in the benefits administration industry for 25 plus years. Prior to coming to the benefit companies 10 years ago, I worked for a large retail company based here in the Midwest. We had 20,000 employees in 4 states and about 10,000 benefit eligible employees. I was responsible for the benefits administration of those 10,000 employees. And back during that time, we actually had a really nice system that put together the deductions for the employees, communicated those deductions with the payroll system. We had a pretty sophisticated administration system. I left that organization after about 15 years and joined a small family business. And the small family business was based up in Door County. We had a retail shop with about 7 employees. And I can honestly say that I have never worked harder in my entire life than I did working for our small business. So I learned a lot during that time. And what's interesting about the background is when I joined the benefit companies 10 years ago, my worlds sort of collided. I came from this large organization with lots of systems, lots of support to a small business. And that's really what we do at the benefit companies is we focus on the small and medium-sized businesses, but bring to them all of the solutions that are available in the big benefits world and benefits market, if you will.
Got it. So I mentioned earlier that I really didn't know anything about HCM when I came here. Mm-hmm. And really HCM a few years ago really didn't exist as HCM.
Right.
So talk for a few minutes about the benefit companies prior to that, prior to HCM coming around, and then how all the products and services we have kind of just lined up nicely with that.
Right.
And then spin the story that you told me about the client meeting that kind of got us where we are today.
Okay. So very interesting when we use terminology like HCM, and I know your listeners probably know this, but it stands for Human Capital Management. And back in the day, I was describing when I worked for the large retailer, we had what we called an HRIS system, a human resource information system. And that's really the system that tied together the payroll side along with the benefits administration side and helped us manage that whole flow of people coming on and off the benefits and the accurate deductions and things like that. So what's interesting about HCM today is that those types of systems, that HRIS, that Human Resource Information System, has been out in the marketplace for a long time because this is going back 25 years. But it hasn't been available really in the small to mid-size market. So that's where we're seeing the advent of technology now through a human capital management system be able to push downstream into that small and medium-sized business market and make it affordable for small and medium-sized businesses to have this type of technology. In the benefits world, one of the things that we have struggled with the past, well, really forever, but certainly over the past 10 years, as other industries have embraced technology, is the lack of technology for benefits administration. And what do I mean by that? It's the needing to enroll people via paper. It's having to communicate with all the different benefit carriers through faxing and emailing separate forms for enrollments and terminations and changes. And that is really clunky. And you would think in today's world, we'd have a better solution for getting that information over to the carriers and then getting it into the payroll system so that the deductions are accurate and everything is working the way it should. So what's interesting about the human capital management advent of technology is it's allowing now for those systems to exist in the small to medium-sized business market, and we're seeing a lot of companies take advantage of that. Back in 2017, I visited with a prospect up north in Wisconsin, and when I met with them, they said to me, what we really need is a system where we can bring employees when they're new hired into the organization. We can get them on the benefits. They don't have to fill out 6 different forms, one for health, one for dental, one for vision, life, disability. We need a mechanism to be able to enroll them, communicate that with the carriers, get the deductions syncing with our payroll system, and that's what we need. And I remember thinking to myself at the time, yeah, that's what every business needs. But it didn't exist, so I thought. So I came back to the company after meeting with that prospect, and I tapped our technology director and said, can we go out into the marketplace and can we try to find a technology solution that's going to get us what our prospects and what our clients are looking for? So we went on a search, and lo and behold, we discovered the human capital management system that we offer clients now. And what's interesting is it's very new. I mean, the technology really, I think 2014, 2015 is when this technology started to develop. So it was just a few years later that we discovered it. And we made the important decision at that point to invest in technology, not only for our business, but also for our clients, because we knew that moving into the future, this was going to be the platform that employers were going to need.
So then you came back to this prospect and told them all about it, right?
Yes, definitely. Yes.
So how did that finish for them? I mean, where are we at with them?
Yeah, well, and that is a great point, because what we did as soon as we found this software, we partnered with a great vendor to provide the software, and then we wrap our service around that software. So we went through pretty extensive training. We went through about 6 months of very intensive training. And then I would say it was probably another good 6 months to 9 months that we were learning the system and learning how to use the system. So during that time, we went out and we were working with prospects, that particular prospect, as well as others in the marketplace. And what we found was a great appetite for this. And so we've been onboarding clients ever since, or making prospects now our clients, and working with them. And what's really rewarding about what we do here at the benefit companies, and something that I'm hugely passionate about, because again, going back to my background, being able to bring solutions to a small and medium-sized business that exist in the larger markets is so important, because in particular, these small companies need support. They need this technology, because in a small company, that company is busy doing what it does and trying to grow its business. So it doesn't want to get bogged down with paperwork and an administrative function. So that's really what this technology is leveraging.
So a couple more things then to kind of wrap around that. When we meet with prospects and they talk about the things that they need, they have a certain need, or they may have something that they want to do first, or they think is a priority for them. So take a minute and talk about how flexible it is for us to help folks implement 1, 2, or 3 things in whatever order they need, depending on what they're trying to accomplish. The technology is that nimble. Right.
Yeah, it is that nimble. And that's a great question. So what's interesting, when we start to work with a prospect, and I want to say this because I think it's important for your listeners to understand, one of the things that I love about what I do here, and I think our teams love, and I know they do, what we do here, is we work with clients across the spectrum of industry. So we're working with clients that are in the hospitality industry, in the manufacturing industry, in the services industry, in healthcare, in education, non-for-profits, across. And what's so interesting is that every client is different, just like people. Every client has characteristics and that are a little bit unique. Even if they are in the same industry, they handle things a little bit differently, or their culture is a little bit different, their philosophy is a little bit different. And so what we do is we do a lot of listening. When we start to work with a prospect, we sit down in what we call a discovery call, and we, through a series of questions, engage that prospect in terms of, what are your pain points? What are things that what are your current processes? And we listen to them, we take a lot of notes, and then we work with them to prioritize where in the system it makes sense to start, so that we can alleviate their greatest pain points or create the greatest efficiencies for them.
And this year has been a challenge, as we know, for everybody.
Yes.
But we're still seeing plenty of folks who are addressing these things in front of them because they really just can't wait. That's true, correct?
It is true. In fact, believe it or not, we're having one of our best years ever, despite all of the challenges economically that are out there. But I think businesses are understanding that we will come out of this coronavirus crisis. We will get back to work. And when we do that, we need to have systems in place and plan for the future. So, and the other thing that's happening is businesses are learning how to do things differently during this pandemic, and leveraging technology is more important than ever. We see that with remote workforces, whether it's you're in manufacturing and now you've got multiple shifts with fewer people and you need to communicate differently, or you have people fully at home working remotely. Using technology is really important.
So let's go off on that for just one more question, maybe two. So when I'm meeting with prospects and I'm talking about what they have in front of them, one of the best pieces I always bring out is the difference that we are with a lot of companies, in that we are design versus a software company. And I could explain that. Why don't you talk about that for a minute? That really kind of hammers home how we can be nimble. How can we really help them solve their problem, get the efficiency they're looking for? Talk about design versus software.
Yeah, that's a great point. So we are in the service business. That's what the benefit companies focuses on. And again, providing products and services for the small to medium-sized business market. So we partner, we don't write software, but we partner with companies that do, and we vet them thoroughly. And that was one of the important things that we looked for, was a good software partner when we launched this human capital management platform that we currently have. But we design around that. So what we'll do is our teams, again, work with prospects and clients to really understand what their goals are. And sometimes they don't always know. So it's through the discovery and the design process that they start to say, okay, this is what I want the system to do for us. And then we will work to make that happen. And I would say that one of the really neat things about our company is that we've got a lot of really creative people here. And they don't, when they're faced with a challenge and can the software do this, or can the software do that, or can you design a process for us that might be unique, our team loves that and goes to work and figures out how we can get the system to do what it needs to do. And we'll often go back and work with the software partners if need be. But we can also develop creative workaround solutions and processes. And companies really appreciate that.
So in my role, I don't get to go out and actually see the end result as much as maybe you do. So tell us a little bit about what it's like, what those folks kind of experience in once we've gone through the test phase, we've put it in play for them. They're actually using the product or whatever it is that they've asked us for. And tell us how they respond to that.
They love it, and it's so rewarding for us and for our teams when we can deploy a system and help them develop processes internally that maybe didn't exist before. And then we never walk away from the client. We're always there, and we're always supporting them in any service capacity that they need. And this is the other interesting thing. Business is always changing. Everything. Our business is changing and evolving. So the ability for us to react to what's happening in the marketplace also gives us a great competitive advantage, I think, because again, we have very creative teams and we're very nimble and we can shift gears quickly based on what's happening in the marketplace. But that's also what businesses really appreciate. And we end up developing long-term partnerships. It's funny because I'll just share this. We get calls sometimes from our partner clients and they'll ask us questions, and sometimes we'll sit back when we get the question and think, wow, that's interesting. We've never been asked that before, or that's really outside of our realm, maybe, of expertise. And we'll ask ourselves sometimes, why do clients come to us with some of those questions? And I think the answer is because they view us as a true partner, and they don't always know where to go to get information, so they start with us. And they know because we've built that trust with them. We've worked with them. They're happy with our services. So we're a starting point in a lot of cases for them as they need information in other areas.
All right. So one more thing, maybe you could project. Again, we have no idea. This year's been crazy. It's also been, as you mentioned, really good for us. What do you think's coming?
Good question.
Yeah.
It is. It's hard to look into a crystal ball. Certainly a year ago, nobody would have expected that we'd be in a pandemic situation this year. So I think that the best approach, and what I've learned in my career, is you deal with what is in front of you, but you're always prepared to shift on a dime. And one of the important lessons that I've been taught over my career is listening to the client. Because at the end of the day, I think when you listen to the clients and you truly have an ear to the ground as far as what they're asking for, you can pick up and see trends. And clients will always tell you where they need you to go next. We could sit here and say, this is where we think we need to be in 5 years. This is where we'll be in 10 years. But I think the answer lies with the client. And the client will be the one that says, you know what I need your company to do, or you know what I need is this type of product, this type of service. And we have to be good listeners, and we are good listeners. It's one of the reasons I think we've been in business for 45 years, and we have changed course and gone after different areas that have been hot throughout those 45 years. But that's what has allowed us to grow to the spot that we are now in terms of offering all of these products and services.
Kathy, thanks for being here today. I appreciate you spending the time and telling folks a little bit about how we've gotten to where we are. So appreciate that. If I ask you to come back, would you come back and talk some more?
Of course.
Okay.
My
Great.
pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. So I mentioned this episode was going to be a little different from our standard 3 things that we dig into. Let's assume that next time Kathy joins us, it will be more of the same. If you want to learn more about Connect and Simplify or have questions for Kathy, find her at ktunney@benefitsinc.com. That's KTUNNEY at benefitsinc.com. That was fun. Here's what's on tap for our next episode of Inside Connect and Simplify. Should I stay or should I go? Our prospects are faced with a mountain of decisions when looking at making changes to their systems. We will talk about some of the most asked questions we get to help them navigate that change. Thing 1, is there something better than our current systems? Thing 2, when is the right time to change? And thing 3, will it be painful? Thanks for listening. Be well.
This podcast is brought to you by Connect and Simplify, the trademark human capital management service of the benefit companies. To learn more, go to www.connectandsimplify.com.